missiles and Eisenhower's foe. But now you better listen to what I got to say. The thing I'm gonna tell you, man, may make you acting gray. I got a satellite, baby, with a red hot style that's new. Yes, I got a satellite.
Our space rocket is ready in the center of the cosmodrome. The countdown begins. Remain. All eyes fixed on the clock. 30 seconds. 10 seconds. A mighty roar. Our rocket vibrates. White hot flame gushes downward. And the great beast lifts slowly from the earth. We are about to create a new planet that we will call Sputnik.
With the Cold War at its climax, the United States and Russia were determined to become more advanced than the other. So on October 4th, 1957, Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, was launched into space, with Russia achieving this advancement.
The word Sputnik is said to have the literal meaning co-traveler, satellite, or traveling companion. This Russian satellite ignited what was known as the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States. The launching of Sputnik was a single event that led to the start of the space age. The launch also led directly to the creation of National Aeronautics and Space Administration, also known as NASA.
In 1952, the International Council of Scientific Unions decided to establish July 1, 1957 to December 31, 1958 as the International Geophysical Year. The scientists knew that the cycles of solar activity would be at a high point then, so this sparked both Russia's and the United States' efforts into space. Both countries were eager to be the first to launch a missile powerful enough to deliver a nuclear weapon to the other, or to launch a satellite into Earth's orbit.
Sergei Korolev, who was a Russian rocket engineer, began construction on the satellite in 1954. Measuring 58 centimeters, or 23 inches, and a weight of 83.6 kilograms, or 183 pounds, Sputnik 1 was about the size of a basketball. Sputnik was lofted into space by an R-7 rocket. It took about 96 minutes to complete each of the 1,440 elliptical orbits and flew over the U.S. 7 times a day. It carried a thermometer and 2 radio transmitters. Circling the Earth once every 96.2 minutes, it transmitted atmospheric information by radio, enabling the world to hear its constant beeping. However, its 2 transmitters only functioned for 21 days. After 3 months in orbit, it burned up while re-entering the atmosphere.
When the rocket reached a speed of 18,000 miles an hour, its flame went out, and in the silence of space, it joined the moon in orbit around the Earth.
Before the Sputnik launch, America saw their space program only as a hobby. The program received no sufficient funds and considered satellites to have no military value to the U.S. However, after the launch of Sputnik 1, the United States was quickly alarmed. Many Americans were shocked that a communist nation beat the United States into space. Rumors that the USSR satellite was spying on the United States sent fear through the American people, and the constant beeping was just a reminder that sent chaos towards the nation. This dispatch was joined with the failure of the United States' first attempt for the start of Project Vanguard. This was a program that was directed by the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory to launch the first artificial satellite into space by using a Vanguard rocket. President Dwight D. Eisenhower called the shock the Sputnik crisis. Initially, the United States government downplayed the significance of the achievement, and Eisenhower did little except to assure the public that America would launch a satellite better than Sputnik.
After several days, they finally realized what an impact the launch had had on the public. The Soviet Union had staged a tremendous propaganda triumph for the communist system and proved that they were superior to the United States. The international image of the Soviet Union was greatly enhanced overnight. Remembering Pearl Harbor, President Eisenhower was afraid of a nuclear Pearl Harbor, that America would be unable to survive. Because of the Cold War, America was in a state of fear from the Soviet Union. Many Americans believed that Sputnik was an atomic bomb that the Soviets would use to destroy American cities. The launch of Sputnik worried America for fear that if Russia could launch a satellite, it could also launch ballistic missiles or rockets that could carry nuclear weapons from Europe to the United States. Sputnik was the essential shift in the Cold War. Russia was now ahead. The space race quickly became a technological battle in the Cold War. To make up for lost time in the space race, the American government sent money to high schools, colleges, and universities so that students could improve their education. This was known as the National Defense Act of 1958. Schools quickly also began to emphasize creativity and independent thinking instead of memorization. In addition, many schools started offering special courses for